Hello everyone, it is Thursday, October 27th, 2022. Of course, yesterday was New Comic Book Day, which means right now it's time for the new comic book video. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. There's just a lot of things going on in the comic book community that are just kind of putting a sour taste in my mouth. We'll discuss that a little bit, but I will show you the books I picked up the last couple of weeks. Here's that, and then at the end of this video, I received 3 books back from grading that I will show you. Vintage books, like we've talked about, it's okay to get vintage books graded. It's the new books that I don't like when they get graded. So with that said, let's jump into the video. Vampirella Strikes number 6. Nice Halloween cover right there. Love everything Halloween. If you get a good cover, I am all over it. A couple weeks ago or last week, Crypt of Shadows number 1, cover A. Crypt of Shadows number 1, the second cover there. There was a couple of other covers for the same book. One of the real sour things about the industry right now that is bothering me, and I have another storyline that came out that I will show you in more detail on that. Marvel Family Comics number 1. This is a facsimile edition. I wasn't sure about these when they first came out. I was kind of hit and miss, but the more they come out, I kind of like them. You can get an actual copy of Detective 27 or Batman number 1 and have the actual story in there just in a reprint. You know what? It's a good, cheap way to have it. You get to actually read the story because I personally cannot afford any of those books raw, but we'll see what happens with that. I know a lot of people are enjoying it. $3.99 price point on that, not bad. Deceased, War of the Undead Gods number 3. Came out yesterday. Creepshow number 2. And then they had a Creepshow number 1 second print that came out. Really, really nice cover. I thought I had picked one up. I didn't, so I'm going to have to pick one of those up. From, I guess it's Sumerian. This is Sarah Lone number 1. Here's cover A. Cover B. The only thing I really don't like about it, next one up, Moon Knight Annual number 1, is that the cover, the book, is a smaller version of the book, as you can tell. Right there. So that's Moon Knight Annual number 1. Of course, a homage to the Werewolf by Night 32 first appearance of the Moon Knight. And here's the book I'm talking about with one of the real issues I'm having with the current market. This is Damn Them All. Good storyline. Cover A. Another cover there. Same cover, foil version. Another cover there. Same cover, foil version. And another cover there. There was also a couple of other covers on that, and that's what's bothering me. I bought those basically because I just wanted to kind of prove a point, and there was just too many covers coming out. It's a money grab with these companies. Horrible. I long for the days of a single cover and, you know, maybe occasionally a variant cover. And I know a lot of comic shops long for those days too, because it gets expensive for them to have to buy 7, 8, 9 copies of something because the companies are just pushing them out there, and it does hurt the price of the books. Make a certain amount of books, they sell out, you go to a second print. You can do that. Do a separate cover on a second print or a third print. Something's Killing the Children was really good at that. They would do the one cover, then they'd have second, third, fourth prints with different covers, and that became a good chase. It's a good story, and it was a good chase. Now they're coming out with a couple of covers on the books. It's just, you know, enough is enough, guys. Next up, from American Mythology, Night of the Living Dead. I bought this for cover purchase. Love the movie. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Here he comes. You never know. A book that was probably the best book that came out yesterday. Sold really, really well from the shops that I talked to. This is from Image. This is Lovesick, number 1. Cover A. Licking the knife right there. Story about a dominatrix. Just kind of really graphic in the middle of the book. Here's another cover of it here. A sketch, black and white sketch version of it. I picked up a couple copies of this. I love this book, and this is something that you can kind of look at and say, you know what? You can do a show about that because it has all the benefits, and it is for mature audiences. And then the last cover, which was my favorite cover, was this one right here, where she's in the bloody bathtub, got the, you know, the pig. Pig is not for the police, it's for this guy here. You know, her customers are pigs. in her eyes. So there's that there. And there was that. So I hope you enjoyed those books there. But, you know, we've talked on this channel a bunch about how much I enjoyed collecting as a kid because it brings back great memories. Certain covers bring back, you know, real positive feelings for me. The Blitzkrieg book is one that we've talked about several times on this channel. Certain other covers. So I started, you know, kind of getting away from it because I just hate the money grab. I hate people who just jump into something and just try to buy a ton of books, and they get mad when they can't get certain books, and they're flipping books real fast, and then it just kind of floods the market, and the guy will come and he'll buy 50 copies of something, and then you find them in dollar bins. You're not doing anything. If you're going to collect something like that, you know, collect it. And it kind of came to a head for me a couple weeks ago, New York City Comic Con. Of course, everybody I'm sure who watches this channel has already heard about the issues that happened at Peach Momoko's booth, where people were trying to fight to get the, you know, push in line to get signatures. She was giving away apparently free signatures on Friday, and she really didn't have a limit at first. There was no sign that said limit 2, limit 3. And of course, you have these whatnot sellers or these flippers up there with 50, 60 books in their hands, getting these, you know, getting her to sign these books. Excuse me. And then the issue came out that, you know, hey, you shouldn't be this part of the line. It's me being in this line. I paid for this. You didn't. You can't be here. I'm here. They're cutting through the lines. They're arguing. And ultimately what happens is there was a lot of shoving, a lot of screaming and hollering at each other, to the point where she got very upset with everything going on and she left. She just walked away from her booth. And I've never seen that before. I have never seen anything like that before. And I had a friend who was there. He told me it was absolutely ridiculous what was going on. So she left. And then the next day, they were going to try it again. It was either Saturday or Sunday. I believe it was Saturday. She'd even canceled a couple of private signings that she was doing because she was so upset about what had happened on Friday. And so the next day, same thing happens. People are standing in line, and then here come a couple of well-known whatnot sellers with their, you know, mountain of books, and they're screaming and hollering that they should be first because, you know, they're here, they're there. And apparently this time a physical altercation broke out, and once again it causes artists, especially someone like Peach Momoko, who for all purposes seemed very quiet, very thankful for her customers, just to get upset. And I started thinking back about when I started going to shows. I went my first comic book show in the 70s, all the way through the 80s. And then I never had seen anything like that. Artists back then, people were just happy to get the signature. They would get one book signed, not walk up with a stack of books, and not walk up to go around and try to sell them, because there were no selling platforms like eBay or, you know, Instagram Live or Facebook Live or whatnot or whatever it is. So, you know, you were just happy to meet the artist. When I met Bertie Wrightson for the last time, I've told this story 1,000 times about, you know, before he passed away, I was so happy just to spend time with him, that he was very gracious with his time and spoke to me for such a long time. I got 2 things. I got 2 prints signed, and I was happy as a clam, and I had no interest in flipping those. But now you have people that are just trying to, you know, the artist who did Stray Dogs, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. The last comic book show here in town, I got a Stray Dogs book signed because we've talked about that book on this channel. And the guy in front of me was there and got 37 books signed. 37. The artist was gracious enough to sign. He was given free signatures. He's gracious enough to sign every one of the books, and the guy didn't even say thank you. He grabbed the books, threw them in a bag, and took off. You know what? That sours artists on there, and it sours people like me. I hate going to the comic book shop now. I don't even like going there. I go there because I enjoy the company of the people who work the comic book shops, but I don't like going there because I'm just tired of people fighting over money. So I'm kind of making that decision that it's taking their joy. There's not a whole lot of joy in this industry for me anymore. I'm not enjoying comic books anymore. I enjoy the community. I enjoy the people on this channel. I enjoy talking to my friends. I enjoy the hunt for vintage, high grade, pre-code. But as it relates to new books now, I zero interest in new books, really. That's why you've seen a lot of my stacks get smaller and smaller and smaller. I used to have huge stacks because I just loved, you know, getting stuff, but I just don't have that joy anymore. I've lost that. I gotta try to find it, and who knows if I ever do. I am doing the local shows. I love selling at shows just to meet the community, but as it relates to like new books and stuff like that, there's too much stuff out there now. I mean, like we talked about some of these titles, their companies don't need to make 10 covers of a book. That's overkill. There are people going on. I've talked to, you know, people that, a lot of there's shops that are closing here in town. There's a couple shops that are getting ready to close here in town. There's a shop that's been sold here in town. There are, you know, a lot of people having to sell their books because the cost factor becomes too much. I mean, a pack of 100 boards is now $15. It's absolutely ridiculous. That is too much. People can't afford it. And that also takes the joy out of it. You know, you used to go to the comic book store, you can spend 30 bucks, 35 bucks, and come away with a nice haul of books. Now, you know, 30, 35, 40 bucks get you like 6 books, 5 books. And, you know, it's just, it isn't worth it anymore to me. It doesn't, there's other things I'd rather do. I'll buy older books like I always do. I always buy older books. I always buy books from the 70s, the Bronze Age stuff. But as it relates to new stuff, I'm just kind of past that because I don't like the community, or I don't like the, you know, a lot of the people in the community that are just looking for the quick buck. A lot of people are trying that Whatnot app. There was a great video on YouTube about, you know, a couple of people that are doing really good on Whatnot, but for every person who does a killing on Whatnot, there's a shitload of other people who are selling books on Whatnot and are getting $1 for it. You know, I'm going to get this because there's a bunch of people there. And he's like, I thought I was going to get $40 for the book. I got $3 for the book. You know, of course, you got to look at your selling platform in order for that. But the idea is there's people who come into this industry, think they can just sell things, and it's bad for the industry. When you have a bad shop, it's bad for the industry. When you do a bad show, it's bad for the industry. When you have ridiculous incidents like we had at the New York City Comic Con recently, it's a black eye for the industry, and we have to stop doing it, period. So that's kind of my little ramble right there. I know deep down inside I have that little flame that loves comics, older comics that I remember that brought joy to my life. New stuff really isn't happening. I'm going to be super, super picky with what I buy. But as it relates to the community, the people that I know in the community that I call friends, there's nothing about that because that's what keeps me in the community is them. So with that said, coming up next Saturday, we have the Vegas Valley Comic Book Convention and Festival. It is, you can see the information right there. It's a one-day event. I will be set up like I am every year, and I am going to have some fantastic books. And if you're there, don't be afraid to come up, buy a bunch of books, and say, hey, what can you do for me? I always take care of customers. I'm looking to sell a lot of stuff. All that stuff behind me here is, you know, that's a lot of books in those boxes, and ultimately they're going to be doing shows. I have a show in November, which is the Comic Book Festival, the Las Vegas Valley Comic Book Festival. And then in December, we have the Old School Comic Con right there that I'm going to be selling at again, which I absolutely love. That one's on a Sunday. And so look for, you know, more information as we move forward. I will do a video next week, kind of show some of maybe the vintage stuff I'm going to be having at the show to get people kind of interested in going out there and picking up a couple of books. Now, with further ado, we have talked 1,000 times about getting books graded. I don't like when you get this stuff graded. I like when you get older books graded, because older books, especially Golden Age, pre-code, you know, a key book, you know, 60s, early 70s, Bronze Age, classic covers. You want to get that stuff graded to keep them good? I'm all for that. That's exactly what it's there for, without, you know, begging for, oh, you know, I sent a new book in and I was expecting a 9.8 and I got a 9.6. I'm so pissed off I'm going to throw the book away. That's what I don't like. That's another thing, is people complaining about some of the higher grades. So I sent 5 books in. I got 3 books back. I sent them in with a friend of mine named Rob. And he uses CGC. Of course, I'm not the huge CGC fan, but this is what he uses. And he's gracious enough to send these in with his orders. And so the first book up, we have Showcase number 55. Of course, this is the first solo green, Golden Age Green Lantern and Silver Age, and the first Silver Age appearance of Solomon Grundy. It is a key book. It's a book that people like. It's a book to kind of find in a hard condition. And I sent it back and got a 7.5. So a real nice 7.5 right there. Really nice looking book. Good color pop right there. There's that there. Book number 1. I also have a Shadow Comics from 1948 that's out that I have not got back yet, which I'm very excited to see what is going to come back. And again, I just got that. I'm hoping to get like a 4 or 5 maybe on that, a 5. but it is getting pressed and cleaned because my friend sends all the stuff in to get pressed and cleaned beforehand, so it just kind of comes with the territory. And then I have a Something's Killing the Children #3 second print where she's in the bathtub, which I'm anticipating a really good grade back. You've seen my other Something's Killing the Children's that I've gotten back, all 9/8. I'm really happy about that. So next up on these, we have one of my favorite covers. I just love this book, the genre that I love. This is Dead of Night #1 from 1973. And again, these were all personal collection books that were raw, that I just never sent in to get graded. This one came back 9/6. There's that right there. Really nice looking cover right there. I love that cover. Just love the girl, the guy coming up right there. Beautiful cover on that. Really nice back, clean back right there. A lot of white on that, gets dirty real easy. So 9.6. Very happy with that one. I didn't get mad because it didn't come back at 9.8. And at CGC, so people sit there and say, oh, sure, you got that grade with CBCS, but CGC wouldn't give it. This is a 9.6 on CGC. Okay, next up, classic cover. One of my favorite covers. We've talked about this before, and I've shown the book raw before. This is Green Lantern #85, Neil Adams special, and this is the famous heroine cover. Again, books that are just sitting in my boxes because I take good care of my stuff. I tell you, I have the highest raw graded books around, period. And you all have the opportunity to buy them if you come to the shows and buy the books out of my boxes. This one came back 9.6. Beautiful cover right there. Beautiful cover. I love that. Again, another one with a ton of white on there. Super, super clean. Of course, this one says, Speedy revealed as a junkie. This is an anti-drug story. Of course, the iconic and recently deceased Neil Adams cover, which I absolutely love. There is that. Love this cover, 9.6. And that's the 3 books that I got back. He does the fast track. We got it back. I think I got these books back by the time when I dropped them off to him. He gets them graded, and then he gets them back. It was like 2.5 weeks. So 2.5 weeks to get books back from CGC. Very, very happy. Really nice condition books. Expensive books, because those you're not going to find these grades. And when was the last time you saw a 9.6 in this book, or even a 9.6 in this book? You don't. So there was that. So those were the books. I'm sorry I kind of rambled on a little bit, but you know, I'm very open and honest as it relates to the community and the things that I don't like. I am not enjoying a lot of aspects of the comic book industry right now, whether it be the price of the books, the multiple covers, and you know, the speculators, the flippers. It's just, everything is just kind of steamrolling right now to me. You know, I have friends in the industry that I respect and I enjoy spending time with, and that's what keeps me going. I'm just going to refocus my attention on older stuff and, you know, just kind of go from there. So there was that. Again, next Saturday, Las Vegas Comic Book Festival, Flamingo Public Library. I hope to see you there. I will be there like I am every year. Come up and say hello. Pick up some books. You might find raw books that are going to come back graded like that in your collection. So if you have nothing else further for me, I hope you like the video. But as always, nothing I can do for you. Have a great, great day. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and I will see you very soon.